So, as an applicant for rent geared to income housing, you may choose any unit that you feel is suitable to your needs. Um, so, they, by suitability, I mean that they are appropriate for your mobility needs and they meet the specific needs of your household, and they're the appropriate size. So, you can change your housing selection at any time. So when you initially apply, there'll be a list of different buildings that you can choose from, and you can change those at any time. Please know you can choose as few or as many as you wish, as long as you meet the occupancy standard, meaning that they're suitably sized for the size of your household. Mm-hmm. And you have the opportunity as an applicant to put your application on pending status at any time. So you may get into a new lease agreement and are bound by it for a year, and you want to put your application on hold for that 1 year period. You may have changes in your life. You're not sure where you're going to work or go to school, and you may want to put your application in pending status so that you're not going to receive an offer for a place that may not be suitable in the future. So for whatever reason, you're able to call us at Housing Services and put your application in a pending status. That means that you'll keep your application date, but for the time that your application is in pending status, you will not receive offers. And why that's important is because you will only receive one offer of an RGI unit. If you turn that offer down, then your file will be canceled. So currently, there's a 4 to 7 year wait, and if your file is canceled, then you would start again and go through the same waiting period. So if you feel that you're not able to accept a unit, then it's a great option to choose pending status. Just call us and let us know, and we will ensure that you keep your date, but you don't receive an offer. Gotcha. So again, currently we've got about 1,200 households that are on the RGI wait list. So wait times have increased considerably in the course of the last 3 years. And currently we expect they're between 4 to 7 years, depending on the size of unit that you require. Next slide, please. So to help reduce your wait time, we recommend that you learn more about RGI locations before making selections. So again, in this presentation, there is a link, and that's the light blue font that's highlighted. You can click in there, and it'll take you to a GIS map that we've developed that shows you the location of rent geared to income buildings throughout the municipality. It also gives you characteristics about the buildings. So what size units do they have? Is there a common room? Are you able to, for example, have a satellite TV? Is there parking? Are they close to a bus route? Are they close to the schools that your family's interested in? Are they close to services that you need to access close to your home, a grocery store? All of that information is available through the GIS map. So I really encourage you, after the presentation or after our discussion today, to click into the presentation and explore if you're interested in RGI. It also will help reduce your wait time if you notify Housing Services when there's any change in your household. So if there's new member added, if your assets or income changes, let us know. If your contact information changes, that's really important. We need that updated because we're going to call you or try and contact you at least once a year. We also try to contact you when we have new units developed, like the 66 that are in construction now, that may meet your needs and get you on the wait list for those. So it's really, really important that we have contact information that's up to date so we can reach you and help reduce your wait time and ensure that we're connecting you with programs that meet your needs. So please know that if you update your information with a case manager you may have for income subsidy, so OW or ODSP, that information doesn't get to us. You need to also contact housing and update that information as well. Also, please let us know if you enter a lease agreement That way we can discuss if you want to put your application on hold, if it's such that you may be stuck there for 1 year based on the agreement, or maybe you find that you really like the place that you've entered the agreement. It's just not affordable, and maybe a PHB is something that can help you in that unit. So if you find a rental within Chatham-Kent and you may like it there, or you know that you're bound by a lease agreement, please just give us a call and we can discuss your options with you then. It will help reduce your wait time if you select all the buildings and locations that meet your needs. So often we get applications that only want one specific building because they may have a friend or family that live in that building, and that's great. But if you have the opportunity to live nearby them and still get the same benefits, the more units that you select that meet your needs, then that will help release or reduce your wait time. That being said, we want you to only select the units that you're really interested in living in if you get an offer, because you will only get one offer. So really consider if you can expand your selections, and that if that will help you be happy and contented in the unit that you're ultimately offered. Really important as well, all of the programming we offer requires us to review the notice of assessment you get back from Canada Revenue Agency or CRA when you file your taxes. So this is for every program from portable housing benefits to RGI. It's really important that you have your taxes up to date and that you keep the notice of assessment, which is the summary paper, or sometimes it's email, that CRA will send you after you file your taxes to show that they agree with the filing, or if there's any edits. It's really important to keep this because we will ask for it at lease signings or to enter a portable housing benefit or for any of the homeownership or affordable programs. If your taxes are not up to date and you're at a loss of how to get them back in order and get everything filed, I recommend that you talk to the community navigators at our library. They're very helpful and know the system well and can help you navigate through it. We at Housing Services will notify you to complete an annual review each year. As we said, the wait list is 4 to 7 years, and your options in your life will change in that time. So the things that you selected, so for example, your building selections that seemed relevant at the time that you applied, those things may change in 4 to 7 years. So we want to make sure that you're still interested in living in RGI housing, because the wait list is so long, and that as your life changes, the programming that you're signed up for with us meets your needs. So we will reach out to you at least once a year. And we will also contact you as you advance on the housing wait list to discuss your selection in more depth. So we really want to align our programming to your needs. So if you're just needing assistance with rent, maybe a portable housing benefit is a better fit for you. If your household needs change, for example, you are having a baby and you're eligible now for a 2-bedroom unit, maybe you're eligible for a 3-bedroom unit, and we can expand your selections. We'll be able to talk to you in depth about schools in the area, what transportation routes, particulars of the building selections you've made. Do they have a playground, a common room, anything like that? So you can expect those calls to come to you as you advance on the wait list. We do reach out to you at least, as I said, once a year. So again, I emphasize that if you update your contact information with us, we can help you find the programming that you need more quickly. And in the event that we can't get a hold of you, and we will try every means, we will call you. If we have an email, we'll send that. We'll contact your contact person that I'll talk about in a second. Any way that we can try to get a hold of you, we will. In the event that we can't get a hold of you when we're doing our annual updates or trying to speak to you about what we call rental readiness, which is bullet point 2, we will cancel your file at that time. because of the great need on the wait list. So it's really important to update your contact information. I want to talk again a little bit about your contact person. On the application, there is a section that says a contact that gives you the opportunity to leave a contact name and phone number or email. And that's a person that we will contact if we can't get a hold of you. Please know we don't share any information with them. The exchange would simply be, we won't even ask them for your contact information. The exchange would simply be, we're trying to get a hold of so-and-so. Could you please let them know that Housing Services is looking to speak with them? So if you can provide a contact name and number on the application, that'll help us to get a hold of you if you're maybe harder to get a hold of. But please note, we don't share the information or anything about your file with them, other than we're trying to get a hold of you. If you need support with your application, you can have a contact person that we will share information with. We have a request or a release of information form that you would fill out with the agency or person that you would want us to speak to about your application. And that would be our permission to speak to them about the application. So in the event that you want somebody else to speak on your behalf or for us to consult with them, ask your housing placement coordinator for a release of information form. So housing placement coordinators are our staff that help you navigate through the programming to find what's appropriate for your needs. And currently we have Carol or Tammy that you would speak to. Tammy deals primarily with seniors and anyone over the age of 50, which isn't a senior yet, but that's where we've done the division. And Carol will look after one-bedroom households where the primary members under the age of 50 and our families. So if you've got questions about any of the information today, call Housing Services. You'll likely speak to one of them, and they will be your contact in terms of updating your contact information, or if you've got questions about programming, building, anything at all. So next slide, please, Phil.
Perfect. And as you can see, the phone number for CK Housing Services is now on the screen as well.
Perfect. So community housing does not include emergency housing. As I said, there's typically a 4 to 7 year wait list for rent geared to income housing, and you're probably looking at least 3 years for a portable housing benefit currently. So if you find that you're in a situation where you need emergency housing, if your landlord has asked you to leave or given you a notice, please don't sign anything. Contact Chatham-Kent Legal Services, and their number is available in the presentation to consult on what your options are first. If you are homeless or know that you will be homeless, if you've gone through the landlord-tenant board procedure, or know that you do need to leave and you don't know what to do, you can call Chatham-Kent Shelter Solutions at the homelessness response line. And that number is 519-354-6628. And again, that's available in the presentation. If you are getting income support like OW or ODSP, then feel free to contact your case manager, and they can provide you with resources and help as well. So we don't have emergency housing available through community housing, but there are resources in the community that can assist you. Next slide, please, Phil.
Perfect. And I think just to clarify, with the Chatham-Kent Shelter Solutions program, it is 24/7, if I'm not mistaken.
It absolutely is. Yes, you can call 24 hours a day and on weekends as well. So we also speak about affordable housing, and affordable housing is different than rent geared to income housing. It is typically newer builds that are under different agreements with senior levels of government, and the rent structure is different as well. So in a rent geared to income home, as we discussed, rents are set at about 30% of your adjusted family net income based on the notice of assessment from your tax return. In affordable buildings, rents are set at a flat rate of 80% of what the average market rent is in the community at the time. And these average market rents are set by Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation, CMHC, based on data collection they do the previous year within the community. So affordable housing, these buildings are owned by both private organizations or developers, and they could be private developers, service organizations, or we own some as the municipality itself. So since 2018, we've spent about $15 million in building new units. And so far, that's realized 107 units that are developed and occupied. Presently, we've got 66 that are under development, and those are set to be occupied throughout 2024 and 2025. So most of the units are one bedroom, and they're located primarily in Chatham. There are a few in Blenheim as well, but typically one bedroom and within Chatham. A lot of them are in referral agreements with agencies that may provide supports to different clientele. So community living, for example, or Canadian Mental Health Association of Chatham-Kent is another example. And again, there is a box in the presentation. You can see the apply for AH, which is affordable housing, and the little hand to click, and that'll take you right to the application.
Brilliant.
Next slide, please. So our other major programming are portable housing benefits. And again, they are pretty much explained in the name. This is a benefit that is paid directly to the household. And then they use that money that's deposited monthly into their account to pay their market rent. So the portable aspect of a portable housing benefit is that the municipal one, we have two in Chatham-Kent. One is municipal, and it can be used throughout the municipality. And the second one is a federal provincial benefit, the COB, or the Canada Ontario Housing Benefit, and it's portable throughout the province of Ontario. So they stay with you when you move. They're an ideal solution if right now you're very happy in the place that you're renting, but the affordability is an issue. Then you would be able to stay in your private market unit and have some support with the rent amount and utilities. So they're great for that. They're an excellent benefit if the unit that you want or needs or that meets your needs isn't available in the community where you'd wish to live. So for example, in Dresden, we only have one bedroom RGI units. So if you wanted an affordable unit in Dresden, we don't, for a family, we don't have anything that are 2, 3, 4 bedrooms, but you could use a portable housing benefit to help you afford something in the private market. So wait times are about 3 years, 2 to 5, depending. And if you're interested in portable housing benefits, you'll need to apply using a rent geared to income application. Part of that application has a sheet where you make your housing selections. And at the very bottom, there's a big bar across that says PHB or portable housing benefit. You can only check that box, and you would be on a PHB list only, but you're welcome as well to choose through that application both RGI units and a portable benefit. So it's one application for both PHB and RGI in that case. Next slide, please, Phil. So that is general overview of the programming that we have available under community housing in Chatham-Kent. What I'd like you to take away from this presentation, and I hope I've emphasized well, is that your housing placement coordinators are an essential resource if you want to talk to somebody about which programming is right for you. I've shared a lot of information in the course of the last half an hour. So if that leaves you with not knowing where to start, a housing placement coordinator, if you gave them a call, would be able to help you navigate the systems and applications and get you signed up for the programming that's right for you. If you are on the housing wait list, please notify us when you have any changes. So family composition, if your Income has changed. Most importantly, though, your contact information. If there's any change in your contact information, we really need to know it so that we can help you access programming faster. If you've signed a lease, again, please give us a call and we can talk about how we can support you through that. Please file your taxes. We need to have your notice of assessment for all programming. Again, if you need assistance with that, you should contact the community navigators at the library. And I ask that if you're on the wait list for rent geared to income housing, review your housing selections often. Do they still make sense for any changes that have happened in your life? And please know that you can change them as often as you need to accommodate what your needs are, and you will still maintain your eligibility date or place on the wait list. And I think that's the last slide, Phil.
I think just some contact information.
So again, if you're facing a crisis and you fear that you may have to leave your home because you've received an eviction notice or the property sold or it's being demolished or whatever the case might be, Chatham-Kent Legal Clinic will provide you with excellent help. You are best to try and contact them via phone, but I've provided their website as well. If you are homeless or know that you will be very shortly, Chatham-Kent Shelter Solutions from the Homeless Response Line, which is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can call them at 519-354-6628. And if you are in that situation and have an OW or ODSP caseworker or case manager, contact them immediately and they can help you navigate through resources that may be able to help you.
Fantastic. Beth, thank you so much for this presentation. It's a lot of information, but it's really critical information that I think a lot of people don't necessarily know. Even when they've applied and they're kind of involved in community housing, still there's so much to know. Thank you very much. To the powers
You're
that
welcome.
be in the back, thank you. Yes, to the powers that be, can we take down the presentation? And as they're taking down the presentation, well, thank you. Fantastic. So Beth, as you were talking, actually, people were starting to comment and had a couple questions already popping in the chat. But before we get there, I just wanted to throw the question out. Community housing, affordable housing, there's a lot of different terms. Can we just clarify what is the difference between RGI or rent geared to income and affordable housing? What's the difference there?
Yeah, so rent geared to income housing are units that are designated, so ones that are owned by the municipality or are private nonprofit housing providers, and they provide a subsidy to make the rent affordable based on your income. So they will charge your rent at about 30% of what your monthly income is.
Okay.
As your income changes and you remain in the unit, your rent will change as well. So if your income is less next year than it is this year, then that will be reflected in your rent. And the same thing if your rent goes up. Affordable are also designated units, and they are owned by different organizations or individuals. Some of them are owned by the municipality, some by charitable organizations or not-profit organizations, others by private developers. And in those units, you will be paying 80% of the average market rent at the time that you move in. And again, your rent may increase as the years go by based on the prescribed amounts that are assigned each year through the Residential Tenancy Act. So your rent will be a flat rate no matter your income. You have to qualify based on household income limits, but as your income varies, your rent will effectively stay the same in those units.
Okay. It's really good to understand the difference between the two types of housing because
Absolutely.
They really are unique. Yeah, exactly. And talking about it, you hit the nail on the head there. Sally and a couple others in the chats have asked the question, what would be the maximum income or the cutoff income for a one bedroom to get into, say, for example, affordable housing?
So with affordable housing and RGI housing, right now, the income limits are the same. The
Okay.
income limits are prescribed to us by the provincial government every year.
Okay.
And typically for both programs, they are very close right now. And last year they were the same. And for one bedroom at this point, income at $38,500 a year or less would qualify you.
Okay, 38,500. Now, is that before tax, after tax?
But this is where your notice of assessment becomes it's before tax, but there still are different deductions. So
Of
this is
course.
where your notice of assessment from filing your taxes becomes critical. And that's why it's
Okay.
really important to keep your taxes up to date. When you receive your notice of assessment, it'll say you have a refund or a need to pay, whatever the case might be. And here is a summary of what you made and what you've paid out. And then there's a line on that form that is your adjusted income
Mhm.
that both programs use to as the cutoff based on your household income limit. So in order for that to be available for when you get an offer of housing and they assign your rent, or for us to say if you're eligible for programming or not, it's really important that you filed your taxes and have access to the notice of assessment.
Gotcha. Okay. I thought I'd throw the softball your way because I knew that notice of assessment is so critical to getting in to your community
Absolutely.
housing. Hmm.
Please know you can still apply for programming right now. And again, with the wait times, you have an opportunity if your taxes aren't up to date, or if you got the notice of assessment and didn't keep it, because that happens to the best of us. You have an opportunity to get your taxes in order or get another copy of your notice of assessment if they are in order and you just don't have it anymore. So don't let that stop you from applying, but it needs to be done before you will get a programming offer typically.
Gotcha. Okay. And I might be throwing out maybe a question that you've already answered, but you said 38,500 for both rent geared income and affordable housing programs. What about portable housing benefit? Is it the same across the
It
board, or is there a
is
definite?
right now, everything's same. And I don't know
Got
if
it.
I heard you correctly or not, Phil, but it's 38,500 for a one
Yes.
bedroom. Okay.
Thank you. My
Didn't know if that
apologies.
was
My
an O or an
misspoke.
8 that you shared. Hmm.
Absolutely. 38,500. Gotcha.
You got it.
Okay. And the other question that came out as you were talking about portable housing benefits was you had mentioned what we call the corn cob, or I guess the COHB, the cob from the Canada Ontario Housing Benefit. Is that what it's
Correct.
called? Now, the question was, is cob on the same application, municipal applications, as for portable housing benefit? Do I tick the same box to be applicable for that?
Absolutely. So at the bottom of your RGI application, you'll see housing selections. And then there's a box that just says PHB.
Mhm.
Click that box and you're eligible and considered for both portable housing
Ah,
benefits that we have. And this is another good time to talk to your housing placement coordinator. So one's portable within the municipality, and the other is portable throughout the province. So
mm,
right now you're renting in Chatham-Kent or want to live here. Maybe you're retired and you want to be closer to your grandchildren in a few years. Then maybe a cob is a better benefit for you, because if you move to London or Toronto or anywhere in Ontario, then you can take that benefit with you if you're still eligible for the program. Maybe the municipal one is meet your needs just fine if you intend to stay in Chatham-Kent and are happy where you're a renter. So that's another great conversation you can have with your housing placement coordinator.
mhm. What I hear you really talking about here is there is a great deal of flexibility, in fact, in in what programs are available and what supports might fit your unique needs. It's not a one size fits all.
No, I mean, the need for assistance in housing affordability has increased incredibly over the course of the last 10 years, but we've got more program options. So I think this program is really great that we're having this dialogue, because you may have applied 6 years ago and didn't know about a portable housing benefit, and it may meet your needs and just didn't realize that that was an option. So there has been a lot of change, a lot of flexibility. And again, your housing placement coordinator would really like to hear what your needs are, and help you find the programming that meets them.
Gotcha. And talking about unique needs and program needs, you had mentioned in your presentation that there are some units where you have partnered with, I believe you said Canadian Mental Health Association, March of Dimes, and Community Living to offer specific units for their clients or customers, whatever term they might use, because of the needs they require and supports they require.
That's correct. So in both our rent geared to income buildings and some of our affordable buildings, there are supports available through those agencies.
Mm,
So if you have mobility needs that you feel that don't allow you to live independently, or you're a client of these agencies, speak to them, your case manager at the agency, about if the units that we have in rent geared to income are affordable or right for you. So they do the assignment when a unit becomes available, because they know their clientele and the needs. So they do that prioritizing. We just assess you for eligibility for the subsidy, or for rent geared to income, or that your household income limit that we talked about, that 38.5 for a one bedroom, that you're
mhm.
under that and you're a citizen and you filed your taxes and those good things. But if you think that supportive housing through one of those agencies is something that would benefit you, talk to your case manager with the agency.
Perfect. Talk about availability. You kind of mentioned in your presentation, but how would I know when my unit or a unit becomes available that I can access?
So when a unit becomes available, you'll receive a notification, and you're the top household on the list at the time. You'll receive a notification from the housing provider. So it not won't necessarily be for Chatham-Kent Housing Services. It may be
Mm,
from one of our not-for-profit providers. So someplace like Columbus Estates or Clairview, or there's 11 of them. I won't list them all because I will forget somebody, but you'll likely get first notification from them,
yeah.
and they get their contact information from us. And again, this is why it's critical that you keep it up to date.
Mm,
And they will discuss the unit and give you the details about it. You'll have an opportunity to visit the unit in most cases, and or speak to the provider about the unit, where it is, and all the details that you'll want to know about whether it's suitable to be your home. So
gotcha.
that'll be
Okay.
the first offer, or the first contact will typically be through the housing provider. If for whatever reason they're not able to reach you, then we, Chatham-Kent Housing Services, will try and get a hold of you or your contact person, and again give the message that Chatham-Kent Housing Services would like to talk to you. Can you give us a call? So we will do every effort we can to get a hold of you. But please know that the first call or contact that you get will probably be from the housing provider themselves.
Gotcha. Okay. And then that comes to the question of, if I get a call from a housing provider, and maybe it's my second, third, or fourth choice on my list when I applied, first of all, do I have to take it? And second of all, if my first choice becomes available down the road, could I transfer?
So we don't really, I know that as individuals we have first, second, and third choices, but those aren't reflected in your application. You will
Mm,
get one offer, and
okay.
if you don't accept that offer, you will have your file canceled. Again, this is why it's
Okay.
really important to stay in contact with your housing placement coordinator and review your housing selections, so that you only have on your application those buildings where you're willing to live, or the programming that you want, like a portable housing benefit. Um, in the event that you accept a unit and it was in your heart of hearts your third choice instead of your first, the way that you can move into a new unit, or your first choice, are different. So if the housing provider, be it the municipality or some of the other ones, have more buildings than the one you're living in, there may be, or there is, an internal transfer list that you can get on to move. You have to be in the unit that you were offered and accepted for 1 year before you can go on the list. Those lists aren't quick either. The wait times are about the same as the regular wait list. Or if your unit of choice isn't one for the housing provider that extended the offer, then you would need to reapply and go back on the RGI list for the unit that you want. So you found a place and accepted the offer, but you really wanted some other one, then you would go back on the list, only make that selection, say, and your wait would be at this time about 7 years again.
Wow. Okay.
So this is why we like to contact you once a year and go over your selections, because we want you to have selections that are going to make you happy when you first move in.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, those will change over the years as life goes on for 7 years while you're on the housing wait list.
Mm-hmm. I think, again, good reiteration, because not only are you calling, but you also said multiple times, please, if you have any updates, be it contact information or life situation, give us a ring, give us a call at Housing Services to update your file on a regular basis.
Absolutely. So if you applied now and 7 years go by and you had 3 children and you're on the wait list for a 1-bedroom and you can't accept the 1-bedroom, then your application would get canceled if you had that offer. So that's why we like to reach out to you at least once a year and ask you to please call us if anything changes.
Gotcha. Okay. Talking about some of the availability that might be out there, I know sometimes we get calls. I've had them. I know you've had them before. Is, hey, I see there's a unit that's empty in this building. How come I can't get in? I'm top of the list. Why am I not being called? Or what's going on here? We have a big wait list. We need to move quicker. Help us understand why sometimes units might be left empty for a couple of months between tenants.
Yeah, so there's a few reasons for that. We want to have people in units as quickly as we possibly can. Our housing providers do as well. That's what we're here for, to keep units filled with the people who need them. Sometimes we have households that may be in a unit for up to 30 years, 20 years. On average, it might be 10. And when they move because the unit isn't appropriate for their household anymore, or for whatever reason, they move to a different area, whatever the case might be, there's repairs that need to happen to the unit. Doesn't mean anybody ruined the unit, but there's life cycle repairs. So for example, maybe the toilet and tub and kitchen vanity haven't been changed in 20 years and it's time to replace them, to provide the next tenant, which may be you, with a unit that you're happy in and keep the property in good repair.
Mm-hmm.
So we typically don't, we as in the municipality or the housing providers, don't do the large scale repairs ourselves. So we are at the mercy of contractors when they're available to come in and do the work. And there's been a long lead time as well for materials. So if you needed new appliances or fixtures, they take longer than they did a few years ago. So while it appears that the unit's empty and nothing's happening, it is probably waiting on materials or people to do repairs. We also, and this comes back as well to making selections that you're willing to live in. If we can't get a hold of you, we try, as I said, to get a hold of you in any means we can. But in doing that, it adds a couple of weeks to the time that a unit is vacant, because we want to give everybody a fair chance to access the unit. So all of these things are going on in the background. And while the next door unit may say it's been empty for 4 months, it's not being neglected or forgotten about. There is a lot of work going on to ensure we fill it as quickly as we can. We really want whomever is on the wait list and the next household who is going to be offered that unit to get it as quickly as they can.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Clearly, there's a lot of work that goes into that transition period. And as you said, there's definitely a period of time where, on average, if you're having tenants staying for 10 years, there needs to be updates, safety, all these other things need to be considered.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Go ahead.
You'd probably rather wait for a little while to get the unit with the new flooring and fixtures and fridge and stove than to move in and not have those things replaced.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And as you said, quality for long-term longevity of the unit and of the building.
Yeah,
So
we
everybody
want you
needs.
to accept the offer that you get first, and be happy where you're at. So this is us trying to do our part to ensure that those things happen.
Brilliant. Talking about potentially available units, we have another question in the comment section. They were wondering, does the municipality, do they keep a list of private owned buildings that have available units every month? Is it a public list? Just kind of wondering where they can access this information beyond Kijiji, for example.
We don't have that list, and for it's like herding cats for us as it would be for
Yeah.
anybody looking for a unit. We don't have contacts with private rental um, owners or landlords, or there's not an association that collects and catalogs all that information. So we
Mhm.
don't have information about private market rentals.
Not a problem. It's good to know. I think sometimes people want to find that central database, but as you said, it's not that simple to create something like that.
Yeah, so anybody who owns a rental unit can offer it or advertise it in any way they wish. So it's hard for us to tap into those sources and have a comprehensive list, or then know that they've been rented or that they're on offer, and it's just not something we're able to provide.
Yeah, understandably so. Okay. In terms of the wait list, sometimes you've mentioned that sometimes people will call in and say, "Hey, I'm just checking where my spot is on the wait list, but it seems like my file's been canceled. How come? What may be the reason why their file's canceled beyond the maybe not taking their first choice?"
So if we are unable to get a hold of you, and as I said, at least once a year, we're going to reach out to you, and it may be just to help you confirm that the contact information in your housing selections are relevant, and there's been no changes to your household members or your um, income or assets. So we'll reach out in regard to those things, but we reach out with good news too. So we may call you because, so for example, we've got 66 units in development now. One
Mm,
of those became available,
mhm.
or we're going to start to build a wait list. They're done construction. They've got an occupancy certificate. And are you interested in being part of the wait list? So after we've tried every measure to get a hold of you, and again, this is where updating your contact information is so important, and providing a contact person that we can let know, somebody close to you that we can let know we're trying to get a hold of you.
Mhm.
That's where that becomes so important. But after we've exhausted all the means that we can to try and get a hold of you, then we will cancel your file because there's 1,197 other households on the list right now.
Gotcha. Okay. And as you spoke when we talked about the unit vacancy, you are trying your best to reach out through various different channels to try and get a hold of somebody before you potentially close their file or move on to another person.
Absolutely. Any way that we can get a hold of you, we'll email you, we'll call you, we'll get a hold of your contact person, everything outside of passenger pigeons almost. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
I'm waiting for the day, Beth, that we see pigeons flying with notes. Next time it'll be droids
And
or
they're all
drones, right?
offers for units that we have available. That's
Exactly.
great. Bring an umbrella.
Now, exactly. Now you mentioned community navigators, notice of assessment. I know you've mentioned it a couple times, but I think it's just so critical. This notice of assessment, what happens if I've never filed taxes or I haven't done it in a couple of years? It's really stressful, and I frankly don't know if I can go to H&R Block or some accountant. I don't know where to start. Where do I go to get help with my taxes?
You would start then with a community navigator. They know the CRA system so well, and they're available at the library. The numbers on the screen now.
Yeah,
Get a hold of them, and they can help you navigate if you haven't filed taxes for a few years, and where do I get my this and my this form and my medical records and all that sort of thing. They're the experts in the community, so they would be your first approach before, if you don't know where to start with taxes.
gotcha. Okay. Now, speaking about potential other reasons that we could uh, lose our spot on the list or get into the list a little quicker. You had mentioned that for individuals who might be experiencing intimate partner violence or people who are actively homeless might be able to get into a unit a little quicker as a priority population. But he also said that you guys don't offer emergency housing. So I wonder if you can help me understand that priority list versus we don't offer emergency housing piece.
So those are priorities that you could get. So an urgent status
Okay.
or what we call a special provincial priority, and that's the
Mm,
priority provided to survivors of domestic violence or human trafficking.
okay.
Even with those priorities, so if you have those now, or if you are working with an agency to see if you are um, eligible for those, even in the event that you have them or may get them, we still don't know when a unit will be available. So it's not emergency housing. You could
Ah,
still wait for a very long time, depending on what size of unit and what your selections are. So if you want a 4 bedroom and that's it, and you've only made one selection, then even with priority, you could wait up to 5 years.
okay. I see what you mean. So even though you're labeled or identified as a priority group that's provincially mandated, the challenge is that you're not walking into a house tomorrow.
No, we have no vacant units that aren't either being prepared for the next household or that are just stock for those. So if that's like a myth in the community, you get a priority on the wait list, but it does not mean that we have a unit available for you
Mm,
at any specific date.
gotcha. Okay. Good to know. The last question, I know I'm kind of skipping back and forth here, but going back to the portable housing benefits, in terms of we talked about with portable housing benefits or the other one, the COB, you can apply with the RGI housing application through the municipal links that you had in that presentation. They'll be posted here in the comment section later on. But what happens if, because it sounds like there's like a limit of provincial or federal funding tied to this. So what happens if all the funds are used up for the year? Am I on a wait list then for the portable housing benefit? Uh,
Yeah, so we manage the municipal portable housing benefit wait list in exactly the same manner as we do
mm,
the housing wait list. So your priority will be by date. So if
okay.
this year the benefits are all full, which say you apply in November, typically any funding that's provided by the municipality or senior levels of government has been spent by then. You still retain your spot until more funding becomes
Mm.
available in the next year.
Gotcha. Okay, so it doesn't restart every January 1st. It's a
You don't
chronological.
have to keep reapplying, and you don't have to worry about losing your spot. If this year you didn't get a benefit because you were at whatever spot on the wait list, you've probably advanced up the list compared to the after the people who did receive the benefit are removed from the PHP list.
Gotcha. Okay. And then one last reminder, PHB is portable housing benefit, and that stays here in Chatham-Kent. So you have to be a
PHP,
resident.
there's two PHBs. This is where things get
Oh,
confusing. There's a
okay.
municipal one, and it stays in
Okay.
Chatham-Kent. And then the corn cob, as you called it, or the Canada Ontario housing benefit, that one can
Yeah.
be used throughout Ontario.
Gotcha. Okay. Just wanted to make sure we got that clarification. Perfect.
Yeah,
Now,
and
with a
that's
couple minutes
again
left,
why calling us and talking about if there's one that better suits your needs than others. Let us know that.
mhm,
You can call your housing placement coordinator. If you're filling out an initial application, there's a spot for comments. You can write that on the comments as well, and we'll record that in the database.
gotcha. Okay, good to know. Another comment we had here was, a couple people have said they've called in a couple times, even this week since Tuesday, when you kind of made sure to say, please call us to update all those things. They've been calling, but no one's getting back to them. I'm assuming there is going to be a couple days where it takes to get back to some phone calls.
There is. I don't know, but we probably had increased calls because of these presentations,
Yeah,
which is the goal of them. So that's amazing. But give us a few
exactly.
days. The there's a big increase in applications this year. And again,
Mhm.
we're trying to meet the needs of the 1,198 households that are on the list. So please be a little patient. We will get back to you. If you haven't heard back from us in 3 days, then please call us again. but
Good to know.
we don't often fail to get back to people. So something maybe.
Beth, I've heard great things about customer service with housing services. You guys are constantly in communication, so I haven't heard a thing.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that, because that's exactly what we're here for.
Absolutely. And now we're a couple minutes away from ending out here. No more comments are coming yet, but I just thought, why don't we, not to recap everything, but if you had 2 to 3 major takeaways from this presentation, if someone skipped through the entire live stream to right now, what are the couple takeaways people need to know after this presentation?
For community housing, please stay in contact with us. When things change, let us know. Don't just let your OW case manager or ODSP case manager know. Call housing. We can help you make sure that your housing selections are still appropriate. Let you know if there's other programming that may now be a better fit for you than what you're signed up for. And we need to have updated contact and income information, especially household members. We need that information to make sure that when you get an offer of programming, you want to take it and you can accept it. So please stay in contact is number one. Number two is file those taxes, get your taxes in order. And if you have filed them and don't have your notice of assessment, get a copy of it. It'll help to ensure that when you get an offer of programming, you're ready to go with it. And if you are experiencing homelessness, please be sure to call the homelessness response line at 519-354-6628. I think those are the main takeaways, Phil.
Brilliant. Beth, as always, thank you so much for the great conversation. I mean, great presentation, very much crucial information needed for people in this community. Thank you for taking the time. Beth Earley from Housing Services Program Manager at Housing Services with the municipality of Chatham-Kent. My name is Philip Mock with Vision Us, and I wish you all a great night. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. If you have any more comments, feel free to comment below. We'll still be watching the comments later on tonight and tomorrow, as well as you'll be seeing a link in the comment section about the presentation and even a list of resources with phone numbers to contact if you need any help and supports, either in Chatham-Kent or beyond. Thanks for listening, everyone. See you next time.
Thanks, everyone.